Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter, and today's special guest, we got a former Tar Heel in the house. This guy's from University of North Carolina, played there 4 years, went to the NFL, played with the Minnesota Vikings, the Carolina Panthers, LA Rams, then went off and played with Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Played there for a few years, just finished playing in 2019. This guy right here is from North Carolina. Let's give it up for today's guest, Mr. Travis Treetop Bond. What's going on, Travis?
What's up, man? Just chilling, enjoying the evening.
That's good, man. Hey, I'm glad to have you on the show. For the people that don't know you, Travis, let them know where you're from and a little bit about your background.
All right. I'm from Coleraine, North Carolina, a little small town in the 252. There ain't a lot going on there, but a lot of ball players come from there. Myself, Kent Bazemore, Jessica Breland, a few others. Todd Gurley from right down the street. Julius Peppers from right up the street as well. Went to middle school, CG White Middle School. Ended up going to Burt T High School. Played my 4 years there in high school. Ended up getting recruited. Had a lot of big recruits. I ended up having about 40-some offers out of high school. A lot of them I didn't even know about until after I committed because they were just too far to reach. And it's not like I, had a lot of contact with a lot of those coaches. I pretty much just kept my top five in my inner circle, when it came to the recruiting process. So ended up going to North Carolina. I chose North Carolina because they had a top 3 defense at the time. And I felt like if I go to North Carolina, compete against Marvin Alston, Rob Quinn, Tyreek Powell, all those type of guys, I don't got no choice but to be good in the end. So that's why I chose North Carolina, opposed to all the other schools like Michigan, NC State. Even though they had good players, I just felt like, going against somebody like Marv Alston, man, like you don't got no choice but to get good. And, playing my 4 years there, great experience, played with some great guys, still playing in the NFL today. Jonathan Cooper, another guy I played with, Brendan Williams, actually wrestles in the WWE now. Russell Bodon was one of my offensive linemen, James Hurst. So I played with some good guys, and just my background and how I grew up playing football, how some of these other guys grew up playing football is always going to be different. I didn't understand the terminology going into college. I didn't know what a deuce block was. I didn't know what a lot of things was, but compared to my knowledge and what I learned throughout my time playing football, it makes sense on how my development came so along with the knowledge of the game. And that made me enjoy the game of football a lot more. So going to the NFL is a little bit different. You don't get a lot of teachings. So you're supposed to come in knowing what to do, knowing how to take certain angles. And I mean, that's good for guys who, been around those things. But for me, it was still a development process. I had my stint in the NFL, played 3 years, and ended up going to the CFL. The draft process was pretty intense. And at the time, I remember Eric Fisher went first. So going into the draft and you see offensive linemen going first, and that's the position that I play, that's a plus. Because the more offensive linemen they take, the more chance that you got of your name being called. Because at the time, there's a need for offensive linemen. And I tell guys today, you think about it, you can't name 5 good offensive linemen out of high school. You just can't do it. It's unheard of.
So let me ask you real quick, who inspired you to play football?
Oh, it was the guys around the neighborhood. Dominique Riddick, Monte Holly, like my cousin, like Lawrence Harrell, Henry Williams. Like those guys influenced me to play football because seeing them do certain things on the football field, seeing them get certain love from the people, the community, like it was just, like that was unheard of because I come from a small town. Like my population in my hometown is about 205. It's crazy, but it's 9 towns in that one county. And when you see certain guys playing, when I grew up seeing those guys playing, I was like, man, that's what I want to do. Like I want to be able to go out there, hit people, be recognized in school, stuff like that. Because I didn't have no siblings that play sports. Like my brother played basketball. I played basketball, but I always felt like I was more driven towards football. So that come from the guys in the community that played. They got me more interested in it.
Okay, cool. So when you started playing middle school, what position did you play? When you first started playing football, what was your first position?
Oh, man, I was a receiver.
What?
Yeah, man. See, a lot of people don't. They think I be joking. I was like, man, I was actually kind of fast. I just kept growing. I played receiver. I ended up getting moved to running back because
Yeah.
I was fast too. I was like 6'3", 275 in seventh grade. Like I could move, and like people would tell you, like it was always quite a thrill to see a guy my size that could move. But I tell people, everybody from my area is big. Like a guy named Will Simmons played at East Carolina, had his stint in the NFL.
Yep.
Tyreek Powell, like guys like that is the guys, that make you want to work hard because they right down the street at a different high school. So them the guys you want to work hard to try to beat out. So my influence came from everywhere, man. Like the competition, I'm very competitive. I love to compete and talk, but it's all fun at the end of the day until you get to that certain level and you realize, oh, this business. So I got to take this and see how I can get a paycheck.
I understand. That's good, man. So you get to high school, you transition from wide receiver and running back to what position?
Left tackle, man. I didn't want to do it. Man, Tony Hogan was my high school coach. He played at Carolina. And so when I came in, I'm like 6'6", 6'7", 310, 315, can move, got the feet, but I'm out here playing tight end, catching the ball. So I remember like the end of that practice, Coach Hogan came to me. He was like, well, you ain't playing tight end, right? And I'm like, what you mean? Like, I don't know how to play offensive line. Like, that ain't my thing, big fella. I like scoring touchdowns, catching the ball. And he broke it down to me. How many people you see at that size, doing certain things. And at the time, he was right. Like, it ain't too many 300-pound guys that can move the way I do. And so when he put me on the offensive line, and I'm like, I like this. Like, I like being physical. Like, this is my thing. This is why I used to get whipped for back in the day when I was a kid. Like, mom dudes would beat me. Like, one of my friends coming to the house crying or something, saying that I was playing too rough. So being able to play O-line, I'm like, this is my thing right here. Like, I want to do this. And so when you see it, it ain't a lot of good people. And I ended up being ranked real high. I was like 15 in the nation, number 2 in the state. I didn't even know I was that good, man. I was just out there having fun.
I understand. So you get to high school. Were you a two-sport athlete? Was football your only sport?
No, I played basketball. I was a 4-year starter in basketball. I played AAU basketball. I ended up playing against Steph Curry, Lance Stevenson. Man, there's a few other guys I played against, man. Like I said, Kent Bazemore was on my team, so I always been around good talent throughout my sports career. Like, always seen good talent. I went to the Nike tournament in Vegas with, see, at the time, people didn't know DeMar DeRozan, but you remember the P. Miller Ballers?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a tournament with those guys. Same tournament. Carmelo Anthony had an AU team at the time. His nephew could hoop. Bro, when I tell you I seen 7'3", 15-year-old kids before it was a thing, like the real baby Shaq was 14, like 6'10". Like, it was crazy, man. Like the type of athletes that I seen. I ran track or whatever I called myself doing at the time. I played a little baseball. So I pretty much played all types of sports. So that's why I was always so active, being able to move at the size that I was at the time.
Okay. So talk about your teammates. Who did you play with in high school that went on?
Oh, man. I played with this cat named Desmond Williams. He ended up going to Old Dominion, finished at Elizabeth City. My man's Darius Wesson. He was a notable athlete in high school, but he ended up tearing his ACL twice. He had looks from like Stanford, NC. Like, these cats could play, man. Kyrie Jones, T-Von Rayner. Man, I played with some cats, man, that could play, but they just, things worked out the different ways for them. Life took its turn for them, not for the worse, but they just did other things in life, and I can respect them for that.
I understand.
But playing against some people, I played against some. I played against this guy named Tyrell Worthington out of South Central High School. The crazy thing about Tyrell was I thought he was so good at football, but the kicker was, dude was a baseball player. He ended up going to the majors out of high school. I think he might have retired like 3 years ago, but he ended up playing in the majors for like 8 years. Like, dude could play. Jeremy Atkins was the leading scorer in basketball in North Carolina at the time. He was from Wilson, North Carolina. He actually averaged more points than John Wall our senior year.
Wow.
So Keon Moore played back. Waukesha Bazemore, the one that just got inducted into the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
at Winston-Salem State. But
Yeah.
he was my teammate in basketball. His brother is Kent Bazemore. So I
Okay.
played with some cats. Tyson Perry, Player of the Year. Like I played with some cats, man.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So, in high school, who was some of your competition?
Well, the biggest school that we would ever play against would be like Hertford County. Like my sophomore year, and see, guys think it's crazy now because I'm like, you see guys out of high school that sound like these prep schools. St. Thomas Aquinas sounded like 20 kids D1 or 10 kids D1 out of high school. In 2007, Hertford County High School signed 11 D1 players. To this day, I tell people it's unheard of in the country. I don't know if you're familiar with the 252, but it's some big time athletes down there, man, that don't get like Todd Gurley from down there. And I tell people you would never know that he literally grew up in Tarboro, North Carolina. Like you'll never know it because it's so small. But being down there, man, you play against some dogs down there. So it was always a good time for me.
Okay, cool. So, did you guys make it to the playoffs?
Oh yeah, so made it to the playoffs every year in football. But the biggest test I ever had in football, probably been in high school, was this team called West Craven. I think they beat everybody by like 35, 40 points. The final score with us was 6-21. We ended up losing. We got to the 3-yard line, had like 4 or 5 penalties. Ended up getting back to like third and like 42 or something like that. But like to me, it was the biggest test I had in my life. We had like 30 players on the team. They came out with like 100. Like it looked like it was gonna be a beatdown, but we come from the country. You got wide receivers on my high school team bench pressing 315. The running back doing like 340. Like I wasn't no strong dude, but I can get like 350 every once in a while. But you got cats like that that's strong. But you put a task in front of us like cutting wood, like going in the woods for like 3-4 hours, cutting wood just to heat the house up. Like that's the type of stuff we used to do just to survive. So playing football, when all you got to do is hit somebody and follow directions for 2 hours out of the day, man, that's easy. I can do that all day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, playing football, it won't never for me just playing. I had a goal in mind, getting what I need out of football to try to make it to the next level and providing for my family. So that's what football eventually came down to me for.
Cool. So, any notable mentions while you were in high school, like All American, All Region, All Conference,
Well,
East,
let me see,
West, North, South, or Shrine Bowl game?
I played in the Shrine Bowl game. See,
Okay, cool.
I got a picture from the Shrine Bowl game. My mom got it, and so Stephon Gilmore,
Yeah.
Dante Page, Moss, Terry Schenkel, Jeremy Boyd, Josh Hunter, oh man, Reese, uh, Sam Montgomery. I've been playing against Sam Montgomery since high school because like all the camps, we'll be at all the invitation camps, all the All-American camps. Under Armour was just coming out then. That's when Big E would travel with Under Armour. So Under Armour had their All-American thing. So I was in all that stuff. So I did all that. Me, Jared McAdoo, Will Simmons, like we attended all these camps. I didn't play in the games because I wasn't gonna pay that money for it. I ain't had no money like that. But I didn't know that the school was supposed to pay for it. So I never went. I didn't even go to the camp. So when coaches were asked, I'd just be like, no, I'm good. Because I didn't want to embarrass myself and be like, no, I ain't got the money to pay for stuff like that. But come to find out, it was supposed to get paid for. I just didn't go. I was playing basketball, so I was like, football can wait till whenever I get to college. Because I wanted to finish my senior year and play basketball.
I understand. And we're letting none of your teammates and your coaches know.
I had a choice to leave and go to Harvard Military Academy and finish my senior year out there. But I didn't have bad grades in that. It was just that they felt like I needed to get away from some of the distractions and get to a place where I could truly, really focus on football because, I had girls, street life, and all types of stuff going on. So, but I was able to always maintain a 3.0 or higher GPA. So that was always kept me in the good graces with coaches. Like he got a good grade point average, so he don't really need all that stuff that other guys do because he can handle it.
Exactly. So let me ask you this: going into your senior year, How did it feel knowing that you had so many offers and you going through the playoffs with the teammates for the last time and you get ready to finish your school year out? What was going through your head throughout that recruiting process, and what schools did you visit?
Oh man, see the process for me, it was crazy, man. Like I had at least 60 letters in my mom's mailbox when I got home. I had a mailbox at school that probably got about 50 to 60 letters a day. And so the process was really nerve wracking because like you got schools pulling from different angles. They want you to visit here, visit there. Like we want you to see this, just to get a chance to experience the university and see what the players had to offer to me as a teammate. So my process was I wanted to really get away from the coaches and see what type of teammates that I'd be around to see if if we vibe together. Like, can I do what they do? Can I be able to hang with them outside of football? And when I got to Carolina, the way they did it, they had all the prospects or guys that already signed at Carolina to be at the visit with me. So I'm coming in as my official visit, and I got guys that are already committed. And so I'm seeing what type of guys they are, like Dante Malls, Terry Schenkel, Jared McAdoo. Like I'm seeing what type of guys they are, David Collins. And I'm like, man, I want to go to Carolina because the vibe and the Carolina atmosphere, it makes you feel welcome. You know, coming from a background like I come from majority African Americans. So when I go to Carolina, it was a different atmosphere that I wasn't used to. But being welcomed by every player, every person, like it was a good feeling. And like I can play here for 4 years and be able to call these guys my brothers. And still to this day, I still talk to a lot of the guys, go to their weddings, events. So it's always good time and fun. So the brotherhood is still there.
So when you get to Tar Heel campus, who was the player, the coach, the staff member or student who welcomed you in with welcome arms?
Sam Pittman, head coach at Arkansas. He was my offensive line coach. And I think my mom took a liking to him first because she felt like he was so down to earth. And you know how moms are. She was like, "My baby in good hands, I'm okay." So she felt the most welcoming with Sam Pitt. And they had John Blake, rest in peace. Like he passed away a couple years ago, but my mom spent a lot of time talking to him. Like, you know, just giving her like how the college life was going to be because we weren't used to it. You know, it ain't a lot of people where we from go to college, play ball, and don't got to pay for nothing. Like that was the kicker. Like you don't got to pay for nothing. All you got to do is show up, be on time, do your schoolwork. So for me, that was easy. Like doing my work and playing ball, I'd rather do that than working on the phone. I tell you that. I tell anybody that.
You understand. So were your family able to come to a lot of your games? And in your freshman year, did you redshirt or did you start right away?
Well, I didn't start right away, but it was so weird because I came in as a left tackle. I'm a 4-star left tackle. So I come in, Sam called me in the office one day and he was like, "Yeah, I want you to play inside." I'm like, "What you mean play inside?" Like, I don't play inside. Like, I got good feet, good hands. Like, I felt like I was a left tackle, but college life is different, whether people want to admit to it or not. It's different. And so when he explained to me the type of player that I was and how I could help the team, I was a little selfish, a little biased at first, because I didn't want to do something that I never done before and get out there and get embarrassed. But when he put me at a position when we started out in training camp, I was like, I like this. Like I get to pull more, it's more contact. And so when I got used to playing the position, like I was playing every game. I might didn't start, but I was actually playing more than a starter. And so I started like 4 games my freshman year. My second year, I probably started like 6 games. Then my junior year, I was a full-time starter. Senior year, of course, I was a full-time starter. But my senior year, I played right tackle, right guard. I played a little bit of left guard. I played center sometime at practice. But I was always a utility guy. Like I ain't mind doing stuff like that because I knew I could do it. So the transition was the biggest thing from like being able to switch positions and learning the dynamics, the angles, and like different techniques I picked up along the way. I mean, playing guard opposed to playing tackle, big difference.
So, talk about playing in the ACC. What was that conference like, and who was the toughest opponent in that conference during your era?
Uh, man, I would say Clemson. Like, man, see, my cousin played with Clemson, Daquan Bowers. So that's
Oh,
my cousin. So,
wow.
like, we found out we were cousins when we were playing in the CFL. And so I remember playing against Clemson. And the crazy thing is, I just thought they were so good on film. And I was like, bro, I don't know. You know, I'm in here scratching my head, having late night wake ups, trying to figure out how the where we going to block this team. But they had guys like Daquan, Branch, the Thompsons, them D tackles. They had everybody on that D line was number one or number two in their class. That was the crazy thing. And so when we played against them, I remember Thompson, man. Thompson just had like freakishly good moves. He was like 6'2", and I'm 6'8". So me going against a guy that's 6'2", 310, can move, good power, stupid hit, like it's complicated. But the thing that I always had that a lot of 6'8" guys don't got is I can bend. I can bend my knees. Like, I ain't perfect, but the way I played, especially in the run game, I was able to bend my knees opposed to bending my hips a lot more. So that's why I played more opposed to a lot of other guys. And so playing against guys like that, it elevates your game. And then you got Marvin Austin at practice, Al Mullins, EJ Wilson, Robert Quinn. I'm like, bro, you gonna have to learn how to figure that thing out. So when you actually go against these cats from Clemson, VTech, Miami, like it's a piece of cake. And so I was the toughest time I had was probably Clemson because they actually everybody you going against is like NFL projected potential, and everybody got drafted from that first string, second string. Everybody got drafted within the first 4 rounds for 2 years straight.
Yeah,
Crazy, man.
I know. So, talk about your bowl games. I know you guys probably played a couple bowl games those years. Talk about that. I know Clemson probably ran the table in the ACC for quite some time,
They
but
did.
I know you guys still make some bowl appearances. Go ahead and talk
Oh
about
yeah.
playing in the bowl.
So the bowl games is more so to show the players the appreciation for the hard work for basically, winning this amount of games. And so when you go to a bowl game, it's really kind of chill. The practices aren't as bad, but you can still get that work in. And so when you go to bowl games, it's really like this is the professional life. So the more you think about it as you elevate your career and go on to the next level, when I see a bowl game and a bowl practice, that's like an NFL practice. Like it's not as intense, it's not as crazy. Like it's a professional like atmosphere. Like we trying to make sure we work our technique. If they do this, you need to do that. You got to always have an answer for every problem that they're trying to throw at you. And so bowl games is fun. Like you get down there, they have all the celebrations. Like you meet the other teams, you might do an activity with them. But the games are very intense. Back then they were intense. To me now, like I see a lot of guys that they don't play the bowl games. I'm like, it could help you and it could hurt you in a sense. But if you a ball player, you should be out there playing, trying to help your team get another win. That's just the way I see it. But I'm not opposed to it. I see what the guys now are trying to accomplish, have a more longevity career. But back then, playing in those bowl games, man, it meant something. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to win the ring. You don't want the ring that say you attended the bowl. You want the ring that say you were champion at this bowl game. And so I won two and lost two. Well, I won two. I won an ACC championship my senior year, but we couldn't go to the bowl because of the NCAA allegations. But the school banned us from a bowl game. But other than that, I got 4 rings. I'm really disappointed I couldn't play in the ACC championship my senior year. Georgia Tech and I think Clemson played that year. But they went into the ACC championship with like 6 wins, which I thought was ridiculous. But, the school banned us from playing into that year. But it all worked out in my favor. Still got drafted, still able to provide. I was more than happy, with those bowl games appearances.
That's what's up, man.
More film, more money.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was your overall experience at North Carolina, man? Did you ever get to see Jordan come into Rec Center to a couple games?
Well, I attended 2 games at Carolina, but I met Jordan in high school. I went to the Jordan Classic with my AAU team because we had won the Super Regional Championship out of North Carolina, so certain teams would get invited back in the day. So we got invited to go to the Jordan Classic. I met them back then and ended up going to Carolina. I met them back then. I think we had won the ACC Championship, so a couple of guys, we met him. And I mean, he's a cool guy, down to earth, North Carolina guy, so you can already almost imagine how that is.
Hey, cool. Yeah, North Carolina got a lot of ballers coming from out of that
Oh,
state.
yeah.
So it's a whole bunch of talent down there. So you end up your bowl game season, you graduate from college, you go into the NFL Combine and the draft. Talk about that experience.
NFL Combine was nerve-wracking. You know, you got all these coaches like asking a ton of different questions, trying to get certain answers, trying to see what makes you tick, what gets you upset, or things that help you, what hurt you. Like they're gonna ask a ton of questions, whether it's uncomfortable or comfortable. Like they're gonna get those questions in whether you want to answer them or not. So you just gotta hold your composure, you know, showing that you are who you are, you know, but I do come with my certain guidelines and limitations, like don't ask me certain things because, you know, you probably won't ask me that outside of just being here. You know what I'm saying? Like you can still be who you are and still set a boundary for everybody that's asking these type of questions. But at the end of the day, be yourself. You know, give them the answer if you want to, but if you don't feel comfortable, you don't got to answer. It ain't no yes or no. They just want to see what makes you tick. You know, because some coaches want to do that, just test the waters a little bit. You see, Kev, like, if you are upset, how can I get you to calm back down? You know, do what's best for the team. They're going to always test you in those certain aspects. Because the game of football is just mental. Because when you get to certain levels, you're going to have or be able to gain the same physical ability as everybody else do. Because it's just natural. It's going to happen. You're going to work out. You're going to train. And so, you know, get drafted, do the combine, nerve-wracking. You know, I was pretty satisfied with my numbers, though, because I came back off an injury. So I was pretty satisfied for, like, the numbers that I put up. They weren't bad. I ended up running an unofficial 5 flat. Official time, it was 5.2. I broke my wrist, but I ended up doing it like 22 reps. I got hit by a truck. Ended up doing 22. Yeah, got hit by a truck. Some drunk driver broke my wrist. And
You were in the car, right?
So what?
You were in the car, right?
No, I was on a scooter.
Oh man, yes.
On my way to
You
study
said
hall.
it so casual, and it sounded like you really got hit by a truck, like physically, like without no, car protection or whatever. So
All I had was my helmet, man. I'm flying in the air. I done caught the scooter.
yeah,
Broke my wrist. Didn't even know I broke my wrist till I was working out the next day. Had like 425 on the bar. And I'm just telling my coach, like, man, my wrist feel funny. But the night before, I had got an x-ray. Nothing showed up. I go the next day after I tell them what's going on, go get an MRI, come and find out my bone is broke in 2 places. And I still didn't get surgery right away because I'm stubborn. And I love the game of football. So I waited 3 months till after spring ball was over to get my surgery. Just because I wanted to practice. That's how bad I wanted to be a part of the team. Because my senior year, like I don't want to miss nothing. But I just waited. I said I'll take the whole summer with a big old cast to cover my whole arm. And so I thugged it out, came back in August, ready to rock and roll, didn't miss a beat. I didn't miss a game in college. I couldn't do that.
that's what's up, man. That's pretty impressive.
Oh
So
yeah.
you got your 40 time, your vertical, your weightlifting, and I guess your shuttles drills done. What was next in your mind? Did you know where you were going?
Well, honestly, I mean, you get a bunch of different phone calls throughout the whole process. Like you still might be training. So actually went home, trained with some of my fellow friends that I grew up with. Took me one little small vacation to the beach, me and my son. And I remember I came back home. And a week before the draft, I remember I was just chilling with my son most of the time, like trying to figure out what's gonna happen, what daddy gonna be at. But he was young then, so he was probably about 3 at the time. And so I was trying to figure out what's gonna be next for us, where I'm gonna be at, how far I'm gonna be away from him. And the one thing that kept playing in my mind the year before, my man's Tydreek from my hometown ended up going to the Minnesota Vikings. The
Okay.
year before, he ended up signing there on a free agent deal. And he told me how much he loved me. And I remember we was on the phone probably for like an hour just talking about ball, the old times. He was like, watch, man, you're going to end up going somewhere like Minnesota. And I just started laughing because during my process, Minnesota was the first team that came to visit me at Carolina. Because I don't know if they still do it now, but when you're going through the process, when you got certain teams that show certain interest, they visit your school to visit you and talk to you out, with everybody away, just a one-on-one session. Like you talk to them, just figure out like who you are as a person for real. And so when I talked to Jeff Davis, I mean, like we had a conversation there for like 3 hours. I ain't never really tell nobody, but I was like, I really like that guy. And he told me how much he liked me. And when I got drafted, he was the one that called. And so it was kind of like it was natural because the first agent that I ever spoke to, I chose him to be my agent. The first team, Minnesota Vikings, the first time I spoke to the North Carolina Chapel Hill, it was Coach Brown. So everybody that I had ever spoke to first, I pretty much end up playing for them or doing something with them first. Because for some reason, it was like always a natural connection. Like I can talk, I'm sociable. I think I'm a likable guy, but when it comes to football, I can be very different. Back then when I was playing now, I'm just a nice guy now.
All right, cool. So you get drafted by Minnesota Vikings. Who's the quarterback at that time? Who's the running back?
Christian Ponder.
Yeah.
I remember so
Florida
well
State.
because, so what?
Florida State.
Yeah, Florida
Somebody
State.
you played against for years.
Yeah, I played against Christian. It was funny because I remember he threw a 98 bomb against us. Ooh, it was bad too. It was real bad. It was a good game. Thursday night football at Carolina. I remember Christian dropped back, 5-step drop. He got a little pressure from the right side, rolled out, and let it fly. 98 yards. It was unreal. And like he always joked with me about that. But Christian was a good guy. I had Sam, what was his name? Sam Cassell. He was an older quarterback.
Sam Castle.
Sam Castle. That's his name. I had him.
Didn't he play? He played in the Little League World Series, right?
He did.
That was him.
So it's just weird. I was pretty, I had knowledgeable quarterbacks at the game. I would never say I played with, like a Tom Brady or, I played with Cam Newton. But like I tell people, Cam is like the quarterback that I always used to play with in high school because he reminded me a lot of the quarterback I played with at my high school. He just wasn't as tall. But Didi could do the same thing as Cam do. He, just on a different level. And back then, you in high school seeing a guy do that. Then when you go to the league and you see a guy do the same thing, your boy used to do in high school, just a different level. And I'm used to stuff like that. So for me, it always worked out in my favor, the type of style of quarterbacks that I played with.
Yeah. So what was it like? What type of person or teammate Cam Newton was playing with you? Was he a commanding quarterback? Was he a really business? He just was playful, or like players, kind of like everybody I'm cool with on the team, and we here to have fun and win, get the job.
See at the time, man, we ended up winning the conference that year. I think we went 12 and 6. We won the conference that year, had a first round playoff bye. Ended up playing the 49ers, lost in the second round. But I tell people, I'm like, Cam was a competitor. He was about his business, and I tell people, you can't just say like he was some type of way if that man's a starting quarterback, MVP caliber. You just can't say certain things like he about his business. And the one thing people don't talk about, I'm like, just imagine watching his film. He got a clip on TikTok where he's going against Clay Matthews. And Clay Matthews calling out the wheel route.
Yeah.
And Cam was like, yeah, you like that, don't you? I got something for you.
Yeah.
That's film, brother. That's film. I'm like, you know how hard that is to tell somebody, oh, you see that. Okay, but I'm about to hit you with something else. I'm like, you don't understand how much confidence you got to have to know what you're doing and to know what they about to do to be able to do something like that. I'm like, you don't even see Tom Brady do that. You don't see Peyton Manning do that, but that's the type of confidence Cam had when he was on that caliber type quarterback, MVP type Cam Newton. I'm like, you got to understand, man, him being able to dissect that game the way he did, and defensive coordinators didn't know what to do. That's why they went to the playoffs because, you thought Cam was just a running quarterback. But he out here picking y'all apart. Like, we beat Tom Brady. We beat Peyton Manning. We beat Russell Wilson that year. I'm undefeated against Peyton Manning. I ain't never lost to him. I never lost to Tom Brady. I feel good to say that as a player, but I say able to say that, man, you got to have a different type of teammate and atmosphere to beat those type of guys. Because those guys in their playbooks too, they like the wizards of the NFL. Quarterbacks, man, if you a starting quarterback or you ever started a game, I don't care who you are, you know what you're doing out there because you understand concepts and the systems that's put in place for you to be successful.
I understand. That's good, man. So you left Carolina Panthers. What was next for you? You go to CFL right after?
I went to the St. Louis Rams. I was there when Aaron Donald first got drafted.
Okay.
He was different.
I saw you drink that water. So I mean, he training with knives coming at him. So talk about his work ethic a little bit.
Man, the work as a rookie, you could see it as a rookie, man. I remember coming in the weight room. Bro had 595 on the ball, but we about to go into training camp. Don't nobody do that. We do. You might get a couple, 2-3 reps, call it a day. Bro in there doing it 5-6 times, 4-5 sets. I'm like, bro, he tripping. And I play guard. And I'm like, D tackle. He ain't no more than about 5'10". You can't never underestimate the pit bull. The one that sleep in the house and don't bother nobody, you can't underestimate him. Because when I seen him come off the ball for the first time, I had to tie my shoe. I said, this going to be a long practice. Like, bro, like he got everything. Like he already low center of gravity. So he got the edge over everybody. He 5'10". It ain't a guard that play in the NFL that's 5'10". You can't name one. Maybe a center, not a guard. Because we all big, bulky. We got to do certain things to get that low. And so when you got a guy like that brings speed, power, and hands, able to get them things off, and with the type of velocity he bringing with that, he complicated the block. By far, the hardest player I've ever had to practice against. Thank God I didn't have to play against him. Not on game day. Practice was enough for me, but going against other guys like BJ Rogers, he's wider, he's a little bit taller, and he's not going to bring all that Aaron brings. And you got guys like David Woodford, who's just a hole plugger. Like you got different type of dynamics, D tackles. But Aaron Donald, he first, second, third down D tackle. Like those now are becoming a thing. Like you think about it, people like aggravates me when I watch football with a group of people and they don't understand what they watch. Because I'm like, you see certain players come in the game and they be like, oh, why they subbing? I'm like, man, them third down players. I mean, you see those type of guys coming in. You see 3D linemen coming in and Aaron Donald still in the game. I'm like, you don't understand. Like that is so good for him because he can easily set the market as to how much he wants to get paid. Because he's a first, second, third down D tackle. You only got first and second down D tackles. Then you got a third down pass rush specialist. People don't even know what that is. I'm like, people get paid just to rush the ball. They don't even come into third down. You don't even understand that.
I understand perfectly. So, man, you just explained the system, the NFL playing behind the closed doors. Did you ever? What's the furthest you made in the playoffs?
Second round.
That's 49. That 49 loss with Carolina.
Yeah, man, it's tough.
Was that the same year Carolina went to the Super Bowl against
the
Ravens?
I was with the Rams then. I wasn't with the Panthers then. I was with the Rams.
Okay.
And so when I saw it, and I was like, man, because the year before we were good too, but seeing them having the run that they had and able to add more pieces to the puzzle, and to see what Cam was able to do up until the Super Bowl, I was like, man, it was good. It was good for what it had going on for the city. A lot of excitement. I was cheering for the guys. Like, I'm a Carolina guy, and so I was having a good moment watching those guys get to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And being able to see what they did that year and the year before what we did, I was just like, man, that's quite impressive. It's hard to win a game in the NFL. And people don't understand. I'm like, it's hard to get a first down. Like, you don't get it. Everybody running 4-4, 4-5. You got D linemen there running 4-5s, 4-4s, coming off the ball. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Like, guys think they know the game from playing high school ball, college ball. I'm like, brother, if you never strapped on a pair of NFL pads and walked out there and actually seen what these guys had to offer, you will question a lot of things about what you know about it, because it's more than just seeing what you see on TV. It's dynamic. It's reasons to why people are getting subbed in the game. It ain't because they tired. It's because you pay a guy $3 million to do this one specific thing, and he gonna be good at it. So if you in the way, he gonna get them hands off and get that sack.
All right, man. So you went to Winnipeg. Talk about that a little bit. Going to Winnipeg, playing. What's the difference between CFL and the NFL? For people who know.
It's talent-wise, like, you got a lot of guys in the CFL, and like, I had my doubts. You know, I'm coming from the NFL. I'm like, man, it's gonna be a walk in the park. You know what I'm saying? But it's not. You know, you got a yard off the ball. So the D linemen pretty much get a running start to get a pass rush. So that's quite difficult. Then you got this one guy, Armando Sewell. And I thought I was strong until I met him. You know, he bench pressed 645. I'm a 620 guy. So when I met Mondo for the first time, we going against each other. Like, I knew nobody in the CFL. I knew absolutely nobody. And so when I start playing with certain guys, Stanley Bryant, DeMarcus Hardrick, Matt Nichols, and like they teaching me the dynamics of the game. And the one guy that I always had in my corner is the legendary Bob Wiley. He was my offensive line coach. He's the reason why on the video game Madden, they block, offensive linemen block with their hands instead of blocking with the chicken wing. He's the co-creator of Madden. So when you watch the credits, Bob Wiley's name is in there. And so when I met Bob and he started teaching me dynamics, angles, certain things to pick up on when you play certain guys, it made me re-love the game of football, because now I'm a veteran, but I'm still figuring out new ways to accomplish more things. And I started getting a lot more accolades in the CFL. Like, you don't get paid like the NFL, but I'm still making six figures. Like, it's good enough for me. I can live, and, you know, just in being able to love the game again and have fun with it, and you still able to still go to the NFL games and have fun, some of the guys that you played with. So my experience was a great time being in Winnipeg. Then I eventually went to the legendary Edmonton Eskimos, where Warren Moon played there. He got his, 5, 6 Grey Cups. So being there, like, you got to see a lot of tradition. I met Shannon Sharp. He came there in 2018. So I met a lot of guys throughout my time. You know, being able to play in the CFL, it was a great experience.
All right, well, let's check out some video of that experience a little bit for everybody that's watching. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Spotify, Deezer, and Twitter, and Instagram. All right, we have former North Carolina Tar Heel and Minnesota Viking, Carolina Panther, Travis Treetop Bond. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. We do not own the rights to this clip, and we do not own the rights in the music in this video. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Travis, you stay with us. All right.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back. We have Travis Bond. He's clearing the path for the running back. Great CO blocker. What was your favorite technique in blocking? Would you like pass block or run block?
I like pass blocking, but it depends on what type of game it is and who talking the most trash. I love to run the ball. Back from high school all the way up until my last game, I will run the ball. Even to my coaching style now, we gonna run that ball.
All right, cool. So let everybody know well what Travis is up to now. Are you coaching or you mentoring, teaching?
So what I do now, I host camps across the nation. I do camps with FBU and VTO, and I host some offensive line training on the side. Just a part of my business now, Bond Legacy Incorporation. So I also coach at Metro Atlanta Christian Academy. This is my first year there. Before that, I was at Mallard Creek High School. Actually, was kind of fun, and the most thing I'm proud about all the offensive linemen that I personally coached in high school. They all now over 75% are at a college right now playing football. So that's my most proudest moment. I have a lot more guys to come my way. Gonna see how far we can get them to go. My son is playing now. TJ is my oldest. Grayson is my youngest. TJ plays offensive line. He does not want to play defensive line. My son is actually pretty good. He played for the Air Cavs in Burlington, North Carolina. Get him a shout out because they won 2 championships in their division. My son almost got as many rings as I got now. He has 2 championship rings, and they're really big. I'm actually quite jealous because I was getting out like that when I was 10 years old.
Okay, that's good, man. Hey, the NIL and everything out there now, straight out of high school, right?
Yes, they do. That's what we shooting for.
Name, image, and likeness. That's what it's all about nowadays.
Yes, sir.
With the enhancement of social media, just think about how much earning potential you could have gained back in your time playing. But we don't want to sound like some old school haters. We want,
Another conversation for another
yeah,
podcast.
yeah. So, so you leave football, you start mentoring, you start doing the coaching and things of that nature. So, what is really your message to the youth?
My message is train hard.
Hmm.
I tell kids, like me and my mom had a conversation. The biggest thing I can tell kids now that got dreams of playing football or any type of sports, baseball, basketball, track, you have to train. You can't just be out here watching people YouTube clips, highlights, and thinking you can just go to the court and do the same thing. You got to put that work in. Find that one type of motivation that's going to get you there. You don't need 30, you don't need 50. You need to find one motivational thing that's going to help get you over that hump. That's what I use. I done use 30 different things. I only use one. Find that one piece of motivation and train hard and always maintain good grades because that can come back and hurt you as you get older in life. I see guys that play football in college, then finish, and then they're doing typical 9 to 5 stuff, which is not a bad thing. But just imagine if you get that degree that come along with playing football or any other sport that you play. So train hard, good grades, and always listen to your coaches. They're gonna do more to try to help you than hurt you in the long run.
I understand. So, I'm gonna ask a couple questions, and you just tell me the better, and just answer the best way you can.
Okay.
Favorite NFL player?
Julius Peppers.
All right. Favorite TV show?
Uh, I'm gonna go. Let's see. You got me good there. I go Fresh Prince.
All right. Um, Favorite pregame meal?
Uh, about 15 to 20 wings, probably 3 to 4 hours before the game, and a bowl of fruit.
Okay, cool.
But the wings got to be fried though. I gotta have that grease before I go out here and get these pancakes out.
Word. So, let me see. Favorite car?
I would say a F-250.
Okay, truck guy. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Favorite stadium to play in?
There's two. I would say Death Valley By far, it's Death Valley.
It's two Death Valleys, LSU and it's Clemson.
Nah, Clemson.
Okay.
Clemson, Death Valley. Like it's cause to me they think it's South Carolina, North Carolina, but when I played, we had more of a rivalry with Clemson because a lot of those guys were from North Carolina, from the Charlotte area, and ended up going to Clemson. So it was more rival for us to play against Clemson.
Okay, cool. Your favorite football team growing up?
Yeah, I would say the Dallas Cowboys because of Larry Allen. That's why. But I
Cool.
don't like them now, so we ain't gonna say I like them now.
What's the best college football tailgate you ever been to?
NC State, unfortunately.
What?
Unfortunately, NC
Your state
State.
rivals? What? Oh man, you about to
I
get killed
mean,
on here, bro.
man, I know a couple of the Carolina fans gonna hate me for that, but NC State tailgates before I got to Carolina were different, and I've been to one as I got older, and I hold that statement true that NC State got some pretty good tailgates.
What you like about it the most?
The way they make their barbecue.
Dude.
They got a little more. The flavor over there was a little bit different. So that they barbecue sauce was a little bit thicker. The people got really wild at the NC State tailgates. So we're a little more classy at Carolina. We are classy. But at NC State, you might see a beer bottle fly. Ain't no telling what you might see. You might see an NC State fan wearing a Clemson shirt, and at the game they might you never know what you might see.
Right. All right. So got one more. Let's see. Your favorite game you ever played?
Football game?
Yeah.
Middle school versus Hertford County 2. I had 5 touchdowns as a running back. The one game my boys always talk about is that one game. I'm like, bro, I couldn't even run that fast. My knee was hurting, broken finger. Like, I was all messed up that game. Still get 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I was a dog back then. All they did was gave me the ball. I just, this is it. Touchdown.
All right. Any shout outs before we head out tonight?
Shout out to my mother, Sarah Outlaw, big brother, Marquis Outlaw, my 2 boys, Grayson and TJ, my little sister, Tekiara, my twin sisters, Aisha and Talisha Outlaw, and everybody else that supported me along the way.
Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. You're more than welcome to come back on anytime. I enjoyed talking to you. And I love to see you again, man, and keep me informed of your camps and stuff so we can highlight the youth that's coming up and pay attention to the talent and get them exposed a little bit as well, giving them some exposure.
Most definitely.
Yep. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Spotify, Deezer, Instagram, and Twitter. Our motto, if it's not how you start, it's how you finish. All right. Until next time, we'd like to thank our special guest, Mr. Travis Treetop Bond, former North Carolina Tar Heel, Minnesota Viking, and Carolina Panther, and Blue Bomber Winnipeg CFL football player. Okay. And guys, stay safe out there until next time. Be safe. Peace. All right.